Ethiopia and Djibouti share an outstanding model of cooperation that symbolizes a strong sense of Pan-Africanism. The Ethiopia-Djibouti railway line had been the reason behind the robust bilateral ties between the two countries, which in turn helped the people of the two nations to build a relationship.
There is no doubt that the people living in both countries are one people. I can be a living witness for what I'm telling you. Mind you, my mother is living in Dreddawa, Ethiopia. My brothers are living in Djibouti. This shows that the two nations are one.
All Djiboutians have one common word. They always put themselves as one nation, living in two different countries, which are geographically separated.
These relationships between people to people are historic relationships. There are also cultural. There are intermarriage between the two people. We have relatives in Ethiopia. Ethiopians have relatives in Djibouti. I think these relationships are quite natural relationships. And we feel when we are in Ethiopia that we are at home. The same for Ethiopians when they come to Djibouti.
The Ethio-Djibouti bond is a typical example of the strong attachment seen in the East African region.
The Northeastern African people are interconnected with same language, religion, culture and political system over the past 3,000 years.
Ethiopians share commonalities with countries like Somalia, Djibouti, Sudan, South Sudan and Eritrea. We may have different religion, different languages, different skin color, but we all are one.
Though the relationship among East African countries commenced a long time ago, it has not been built on firm ground. It is with the spirit of mutual benefit and shared commonalities that the Ethiopian government is implementing its foreign affairs and national security policy.
We are more than ever convinced that we in the region swim or sink together. We are determined to make sure that we swim together rather than sink together. That requires that we integrate our economies and make the best of each other's potential. This in turn requires that we intensify infrastructural links as a first step in regional integration. Ethiopia already has road, telecommunication and power grid linkage of first-rate quality. Soon, this will be enforced by first-rate rail connection with Djibouti. I think what Djibouti and Ethiopia have done in this regard can be an example for all countries in our region and beyond.
Things that make us similar and that connect us together are numerous. We remain poor nations for ages, but now it's time to say no to poverty. This is why we say we could have a win-win advantage.
The relationship between Djibouti and Ethiopia are very vital for both countries in many ways. The first pillar of that relationship is that we have with Ethiopia, Djibouti and Ethiopia have a cultural and historic relationship. For many years now we have been working on how to promote and enhance the economic integration between both countries. Since Ethiopia launched its 5-year transformation plan during the former Prime Minister Ato Meles Zenawi's era, and Djibouti also its 5-year plan for the economic transformation in this country, we have noticed that there is really a very good momentum and rapid growth for both economies.
All our policies are rooted in the realization that Ethiopia cannot grow in isolation. For us to sustain our growth, the neighboring countries, in particular and the region in general should also grow. When we will grow, when Djibouti, among others, grow.
The historical relations between Ethiopia and Djibouti are now changing to reinforce economic ties. Both states are doing their level best to keep the momentum that is benefiting the public in both countries. Developing the port of Djibouti has been the basis for the strong economic ties. Almost all the import and export trade transactions passes through this port.
የኢትዮጵያ መርከቦች የተለያዩ ሀገሮች ባሉ ወደቦች እቃ ያነሳሉ ወደ እነዛ ወደቦችም እቃ ያጓጉዛሉ።
The Ethiopian ships sail at various ports of the world. Among them, the port of Djibouti has a unique meaning for Ethiopians, as it is the start and the final destination of our import and export trade. It's like a home port for us.
Our responsibility is to make port facilities available for Ethiopian customers and for Ethiopian people. And grow all this and invest more and more in the port infrastructures to go with the Ethiopian economy growth.
The 9 new vessels inaugurated at the port of Djibouti in May 2014 increased Ethiopia's transporting capacity of goods by 15 to 40%. Some 550 to 600 vehicles pass through the Ethiopia-Djibouti corridor every day. 15,000 tons of goods, 350 containers, and about 60 new vehicles are imported to Ethiopia per day through the port of Djibouti.
በተለይ አሁን የሚገቡ ገቢ ዕቃዎች የገቢ ዕቃ አይነቱም ልዩነት ጨምራለሁ። አብዛኛው በአሁኑ ሰዓት እየገቡ ያሉት ገቢ ዕቃዎች
The majority of imported goods are used for grand projects of Ethiopia like road and railway construction, telecom expansion, and construction of the Renaissance hydropower dam. When you see the diversity of the imported goods, you can easily see the shift to project goods from the previous consumption goods.
Continental integration has been a major challenge for Africa. Infrastructure and economic development are still stumbling blocks toward free movement of people and goods. The trade volume among African countries is merely 10%. Regional economic communities like COMESA, ECOWAS, IGAD, and SADC, which are believed to be the basis of integration, are playing a significant role. Ethiopia and Djibouti stand out as best examples in the IGAD region that are working on infrastructure development.
We have opened new new fields of integration, of cooperation, scientific cooperation, economical cooperation, technical operations. We have created from the north part of our country to the north part of Ethiopia. We are now building a new port. Yes, we are planning to build a new railway which will link Tajura to Mekelle on the north part of the country. We wanted to realize very, very soon the new railway to Addis Ababa. We have 6 undersea cable in our country with a link with Ethiopia by two ways from Galafi and from Dole. We want that Ethiopia could benefit from all these 6 undersea cable, which are gives to the Ethiopian people the use of internet and fiber optic and widen the links between Ethiopia and the world. So we have benefited also from Ethiopia, lands, water, and We think that now we achieved a lot, and we will achieve more to show to our peoples that two countries which links very historical relations, that we can create all the means of progress to our countries.
የሁለቱ ሀገሮች ግንኙነት ከተለመደው ዲፕሎማሲያዊ ግንኙነት
The bilateral tie between Ethiopia and Djibouti has seen steady growth beyond the historic and diplomatic relations, and it's bound to get further momentum as it is based on win-win scenario.
What we need to bring about in this region is a real integration. In IGAD region, we still suffer from many crises, political crises. We have one in Somalia, another crisis in South Sudan. We still have problems with Eritrea. So these political crises have indeed provoked a number of delays in terms of economic integration process. If Ethiopia and Djibouti manage to strengthen their relationship as two integrated economies, we can play the role of a locomotive for the whole region.
Djibouti receives 50 megawatts of power from Ethiopia, and other projects are on the pipeline to increase the power supply. Besides the power link, rail and road construction, water provision, as well as fuel depot projects are expected to lift up the economic ties of the two countries. The Ethiopia-Djibouti Railway project costs more than $3 billion, the second most expensive project in the country next to the Grand Renaissance Dam. The project, which is part of the Africa Railway Line, is expected to be completed over the next 2 to 3 years. The 656-kilometer-long Ethiopia-Djibouti Railway project entered a new phase with the commencement of the laying of tracks from Ethiopia's border to the port of Djibouti.
የአዲስ አበባ ጅቡቲ ዶራሌ ፕሮጀክት አንድ ፕሮጀክት እነሱ 50 እኛ 55 ደርሰን
The project from Djibouti to Douala has seen 55% completion, and on the Djiboutian side, they have completed 50% of the project. We believe we'll complete the project in time. The project from Djibouti to Douala has seen 55% completion, and on the Djiboutian side, they have completed 50% of the project. We believe we'll complete the project in time.
The strong cooperation between the two countries is a manifestation of the newly emerging Africa and of its renaissance.
The integration program is the best way to win the betterment, to win to meet the global the growth and progress and development.
በኢጋድ ደረጃ ተቀይሶ ወደ ተግባር በመሸጋገር ላይ የሚገኘውን
IGAD's economic integration program is experienced by Ethiopia and Djibouti. The countries are pioneers to showcase that it is possible to bring sound integration. If Ethiopia and Djibouti can do it, then I think all African countries should follow suit.
Ethiopia and Djibouti signed more than 40 bilateral cooperation agreements. They also have the same agenda against terrorism.
The Horn of Africa has been stricken several times by terrorist attacks. No country in this region has been saved by those attacks. We have experienced an attack recently during the month of May this year. Ethiopia also have been subjected or submitted to those terrorist attacks. Kenya, Uganda, and all those countries have been suffering from terrorism for many years. So this phenomenon should not stop us to strengthen our relationship in terms of security coordination and cooperation. That's what we are doing right now, actually. We are also not working at a bilateral level. We are also working on multilateral level. Djibouti and Ethiopia send troops to Somalia and other countries like Burundi and Uganda to help stabilize Somalia. We are also now working on sending troops to South Sudan. So that means that there is really a good base for cooperation between countries in the region, and mainly and in particular between Djibouti and Ethiopia.
Djibouti is the second destination of most Ethiopian exports like coffee, next to Japan. This is Plaza Mebo, a place where anybody can access Ethiopian goods.
Here, you can get everything you need. All the consumer goods are imported from Ethiopia. Fruits like orange, banana, and vegetables like cucumber and salad are freshly imported from Ethiopia. There's no fruit which is imported from other countries. All the fruits are imported from Ethiopia.
Though there is such strong trade relations between the two countries, the trade and economic tie is not as robust as expected.
We are very, very much far from matching to the maximum of our commercial and economical relations. It's just a starting point in my view. It means we are very, very far from what together Djibouti and Ethiopia can generate, what Djibouti and Ethiopia can transform in this regional development.
The newly emerging strong relation between the two countries is bound to have its own impact on the economic integration of the IGAD region in particular and the continent in general. The development of the Tajra port is expected to further give momentum to the integration process.
Ethiopia, with its 90 million inhabitants and its very big and growing economy, is really a key player, a central player in the region. And what I would like to underline here and pinpoint is that the more the Ethiopian role is growing, economic role, political role, security-wise, the better will be the region.
The two countries are committed to enhance development cooperation and which an engine to economic integration that ensures mutual benefits. In fact, the two countries have chosen to swim together.
As our late great Prime Minister Meles Zenawi once said, we shall sink or swim together. Of course, we prefer to swim together.